The first decision a player needs to make when learning to play with side spin is, how do they strike the ball when playing with side spin? There are two main ways of doing this that you will have seen, both of which you probably will have seen. The first one is to deliver the cue on a curve. So what we're saying is, if a player wanted to play maximum left-hand side, they'll aim the tip here and on delivery move the tip out to the side. How that looks like is in here. Let's say I'm aiming in the left number 2, and to hit left number 4 I have to do that. I'm exaggerating slightly, but that is the swoosh method. The other method is keeping a completely consistent delivery at all times, whether you're centre of the cue ball, straight balls, long balls, angle balls, side spin, no side spin, and you just have a straight delivery all of the time, like a robot, like an automaton. Shot agnostic, so your delivery becomes shot agnostic. It's just a straight arrow on every shot you play. All you have to do then, cognitively, is decide where you have to aim the cue for the ball to go in, for the cue ball to hit the correct part of the object ball. So that's where your guesswork comes in on aiming, your guesswork expertise, if you like. And all potting is guesswork, even for the pros. It might be obvious to them that their aiming is correct, but that's just because their guesswork is so good, they know where the object ball is going for a given line of aim. But that soon dissipates as the distance increases across the table and you reach almost impossible pots. Then they're still guessing. That becomes clear that they're still guessing, making their best estimate of the potting angle. How that looks is with a straight delivery. So if I'm addressing left-hand side, come back, straight delivery, and why does the ball go over here? Because with left I was aiming parallel to this line here, and what happens is, to exaggerate this, touching the white on the surface of the cue ball with left number 4, if we push that straight, the cue ball goes to the right, to my right. So that deflection is what we have to compensate for when we're playing with side. So the benefit to a player of addressing here is that they can aim more closely to what they think is the line of aim. It looks nearer to the line of aim to them. But on delivery, they move to the side. Their ultimate cueing angle and compensation is the same as a straight side spin delivery. But they don't see it that way, so it's less disconcerting. Players don't like to see the cue aiming a long way off what they think is the actual potting angle. It can be quite disconcerting and nerve-wracking, which is something you have to train your players to become comfortable with the straight delivery method. The benefit and by the way, swooping like this doesn't have any meaningful amount of extra side spin on the ball. Players think that if they do this on delivery, it'll turn the cue ball more. Doesn't make any difference. If it does, it's microscopic and not worth the extra difficulty involved in moving the cue through an arc. The benefit of a straight delivery on every shot is it's a straight delivery on every shot and you're building muscle memory. The downside is that the aim looks quite alien to a player. So for example, to pot this red, I might need to aim on this line here, quite significantly across the line of aim. That's quite disconcerting to a player. Look where that cue's finished, considerably off the line of aim, but it's quite liberating because then you're operating in reality. you're operating in the world of what is actually happening to the cue ball. So the first exercise I like to do with players when they're learning side spin is train them to deliver the cue straight with side spin. And once they can do that and aim, then they can choose either option. They can choose to deliver straight on every shot or swoop to the side. And pros do both. Some pros are swoopers, some pros are straighters. So it does come down to how you learnt the game, maybe how you were taught, to a degree, personal preference perhaps. But what I found is that if they learn the straight delivery method, learning to aim with side spin suddenly becomes clear when they break through the fear of aiming their cue somewhat visually off the line of aim. So the exercise I want you to demonstrate is I put some blue tack or even some tape on the cushion of the table you can use to put these colours here. And what we want to do is practice a straight delivery, aiming the cue, not the cue ball, the cue at the yellow, at the green, at the brown. I'm aiming the cue at these balls, pointing the cue, not the cue ball. Where the cue ball goes is what I learn. So we've got, so your target is aim the cue left number 4, aim the cue toward the yellow with a straight delivery. Aim the cue toward the green with a straight delivery. Aim toward the brown with a straight delivery. Aim toward the middle pocket with a straight delivery. So here you can see I'm not aiming, I'm not actually aiming to pot the white. I'm aiming to aim the cue toward the centre of the pocket. I'm aiming the cue, not the cue ball. They are two totally different things, because aiming the cue at the centre of the pocket, you can see my cue is pointing at the centre of the pocket, but the cue's gone considerably wider because of the deflection of the cue ball on impact. And then aim the cue at the blue. And if the player is not delivering straight, if they're swooping on delivery, what I'd like you to do is just get them to address adjacent to the side of the cue ball and practice a straight delivery. Then move themselves toward the cue ball and keep doing that cycle until they can deliver straight on every ball. Same on the pink. And same on the black. I should avoid cannoning all those balls now. There we go, just about. Even potted that one. So what does this do? This decouples the player's aiming from the result of the shot. So it gets them focused on the process of delivering straight, and it separates, because they have no objective for where the cue ball's going, they're just aiming toward each colour and delivering the cue straight. But it takes quite a lot of ego trust to do that, and also trust to aim enough side. And in fact, what I suggest that you do is, with a straight delivery, I want you to demonstrate this as well, is with a straight delivery aiming so much side that you get a miscue. That was a straight delivery and it was a miscue because I was aiming here. So I want you to be able to demonstrate that without sneaking in a clean hit. So in other words, I could be addressing here, look, and at the last minute go to a safer zone on the cue ball in here. So I could be aiming to miscue, but I could at the last minute go to a safe and non-miscue part of the cue ball just to prevent the ego pain of miscuing. So you've got, in a safe environment, you've got to get your students comfortable with going to the edge of the ball and knowing where the miscue limit is, otherwise they'll never have the freedom to play maximum side spin. Most players below 60 break, highest break standard, have no idea where the limit of the cue ball is, whether it's top spin, back spin, or side spin. So it's very liberating to them to do that miscue practice. So that is the first step of mastering delivery with a cue ball only. Okay? Once they can do that, then they can introduce the added confusion and distraction of an object ball. And the next exercise we're going to do will teach the player where the object ball goes with different aims of the cue. Next topic to demonstrate is the straight delivery with an object ball in the way, the distraction of the object ball. And this is very interesting. When you put an object ball on the table, how a player's behaviour and demeanour and panic-stricken cueing delivery comes to the fore, because they want to get the ball in the pocket. They go into that mode of that social conditioning and that subconscious desire to get the damn ball in the pocket. But this is a great exercise in decoupling the process from the result. And only when you can do that do you have the freedom to learn. But even in a practice environment with nobody watching, the player's subconscious, the lizard brain, still kicks in and tries to get the ball in the pocket. So observe the difference between the player's delivery without a cue ball, with a cue ball only, and with an object ball in the way, and finally with an object ball in the way that they are also trying to pot. So the third step is with an object ball in the way where they're only trying to deliver straight to certain cueing directions, and the fourth one is delivering with side and straight and to pot the red. It's interesting to see the difference. And if they find one of the levels more difficult, then backpedal to the previous level. There's no problem going back to delivering adjacent to the cue ball in a straight line. And then encourage them to just deliver. No objective for the cue ball, just deliver straight with the cue ball in the way. And if they can't do that, you just stick with that or go to the previous level. Putting the object ball on the way is too advanced for them, no problem. With time, they'll get more comfortable with doing this. So what we do is aim the cue towards the yellow with the straight delivery and maximum left-hand side, or you can do it right-hand side, your choice. Aiming the center of the tip through the edge of the cue ball directly to the yellow, the tip to the yellow, not necessarily the cue ball to the yellow. So then straight delivery, tip toward the green, then straight delivery, tip toward the brown, that's a straight delivery. And what I suggest is that you what I suggest is that the player stays down for as much time as possible to check that the cue was straight. If the cue wasn't straight, you have to play the shot again until it was, because there's no learning that takes place if the cue isn't straight. Aim the tip through maximum left-hand side to the center of the pocket, aiming the tip to the center of the pocket, not the cue ball, not the red, the tip to the center of the pocket. So I've delivered straight, the tip to the center of the pocket, but obviously, because of deflection, because of cue ball deflection. It pushes off to the side. And this is what aiming compensation is all about. Then straight delivery to aiming to the blue. So I'm happy with that delivery. Aiming toward the pink. I'm happy with that delivery. And aiming toward the black. I'm happy that that is a straight delivery and the cue's pointing toward the black. So what we're saying is to aim with a straight delivery until you miss the red completely this side and until you miss the red completely this side, and 5-10 degree angles in between on a systematic basis. So you or your student begin to learn the spread of the cue ball direction for a given cue ball line of aim with maximum side. And then eventually they'll start to learn where the object ball is going to go. So this could be called the experiment phase, where you're experimenting with where the cue ball is going to go. The guessing phase is where you ask your player to aim the cue, let's say, toward this jaw of the pocket, and ask them where they think the object ball is going to go. I would say just to the left of the black, which it did indeed. And if their guesswork isn't accurate, as long as they've delivered on a straight line, then keep asking them to deliver in aim the tip toward different positions on the cushion and see how good their guesswork gets over time. When they're good at guessing where the object ball is going, then they're ready to have a target, a goal. So we've gone through experiment, guess and goal stages, and the third stage would be having a goal. Now that you've learnt where the cue ball, your guesswork at where the object ball is going is fairly accurate, now you're ready to aim to pot the red, and then they'll aim eventually. That's a straight delivery, and the red went in. So my guesswork was correct. My guesswork for compensating my line of aim based on the deflection was correct. So the next video will deal with some of the errors in thinking there are in side spin, but the second phase of object ball management and decoupling your process of aiming from the result of the cue ball is an absolutely key stage in liberating your player from twitches and jerks and anxiety on whether the ball is going to go in with side spin.